Not the only example of that. There is one that is even more ridiculous, and I cannot wait to show you. Also, we're going so fast. We're not doing it tonight, but we should probably just play this whole game. Because this is going fast, dude. This is going fast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck them. I don't care. Also, I have 38 lives. Incredible.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if I ever had that many when I was a kid. Because this game gets kind of tough. Can I just... Yeah, okay. Yep. That's a neat boat. I can't stop saying it. Will not stop saying it. This game's music is just awesome.
Oh, it's amazing.
I stopped myself from saying badass so I wouldn't repeat a word, and then I said a word I say even more often. Christ, Rance.
I'll say better.
The music is stupendous. There you go.
Now, did you play the original God of War games when you were younger?
No, I did not. In fact, the first God of War game I played would have been 2016, and then
2018.
I think it's 2018. Yeah. And then I played God of War 3 in preparation for Ragnarok. Or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe I played Ragnarok and then 3, but regardless, I think 3 is a pretty good game. And 8, go ahead.
Oh, I think you cut out.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you're.
I think 3. Can you hear me?
The stream froze and I can't hear you.
Awesome.
So.
Love my internet so much. How you feel? How you doing, audience? How you doing? I should probably wait.
Stream's back.
All right. What I was saying is, God of War 3 is a pretty good game, and 2018 and Ragnarok, well, I think they have wonderful stories. They're very good stories. The gameplay, I just straight up am not looking forward to going back to ever. In fact, when the DLC for Ragnarok came out, even though it had all that extra story content, by the end of it, I was like, dog, I'm fucking done. This is not fun. This is not a fun video game.
That's fair.
They are so eager to put shit like projectiles and shit behind you so often with that claustrophobic ass camera. It's not fun. It is not fun.
Now, I don't think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't have any God of War games on PS2. That would have been the only console, besides the one I'm about to mention, that I would have had a God of War game on. But I did have God of War Ghost of Olympus or Chains of Sparta. I think Chains of Sparta
One
on
of the PSP ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently those are pretty good. I've heard good things about them.
For a PSP game, probably up there with the best, honestly. Because while the PSP was ahead of its time, lot of really bad games. Lot of really shit games. To be real honest. But the thing I do remember about the God of War Chains of Olympus was the sex scenes.
Of course.
Because, it was an M-rated game, but, PSP shit was awesome. Seeing titties and shit.
Oh, yeah. I do think the general attitude is kind of cringe in those games. Like, I get Kratos is the villain and stuff, but like, I'm sure you've heard this opinion before, audience, but having the Poseidon's princess scene followed up immediately by the Aphrodite sex scene is like absolutely fucked up. Like, that's just not okay.
Now, what's the context for this?
So, Aphrodite Princess is, there's a naked woman, like titties out and everything, who's terrified of you, and Kratos is dragging her around the room and using her to solve puzzles, and she's begging for her life the entire time. And at the end of it, Kratos uses her to keep a gear from spinning, and when he gets through the door, the gear spins to the point where she gets caught in it and gets crushed and mangled horribly, and she turns into a little brown stain. And it's genuinely awful, and if it was only that, right, if it was just straight up Kratos is doing an awful, awful thing, that'd be one thing. But then the game immediately, like within 15 minutes, goes, time for the sex scene with Aphrodite. You ready to get horny, gamers? And it's like, it feels so tone deaf. It is awful.
Honestly, I mean, if Kratos is the villain,
you can spin it to where Kratos is a straight up womanizer and an awful person in both of these ways. But it doesn't read that way. The camera is telling you this is awesome.
And that, honestly, the intention could have been one or the other back then. Because when that game was made, probably what, like 2006?
Yep.
So
I don't know about 6, but around that time, yes.
Yeah, like back then, like we've said before, shit was different. Shit was bizarre.
Shit wasn't thought about.
Like, it was thought about, but people, I mean, you think about, like, anybody who's lived through, like, 2006, or 2000, the year 2000 through probably, like, 2014, there was a lot of really cringe shit, like, everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just how it was. Like, just so much shit was just like, it's cringe now, but back then it was badass. Like, that's just I don't know, man, it's wild.
The attitude was different. Like, as cringe as it is to say, video games went through kind of the same sort of growing phase that, like, the people playing them did. Like, I'd say we're in an adult phase now, and yeah, games are made for all sorts of demographics and age groups now, but on the whole, I think AAA games are more adult than teenager now. Maybe a little pretentious adult, although I think we're getting out of that a little bit too. But, yeah, there was a teenager phase, without a doubt. I mean, you remember fucking Hatred? Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Hatred. And I mean, really, just looking at the God of War games in general, like, not 2018 or Ragnarok, but the original God of War game, Kratos just kind of fucking sucks. Like, I mean, he has the attitude of, like, a 13-year-old.
He does.
The entire time. But that was just that was just cool back then.
Also,
like,
I would say, and you're right. You're absolutely right. And I want to keep talking about it, but I just want to also add, I'd like those games a lot more if Kratos was more, like, authentically Greek, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he has to go have sex with men, although it would help. There's a fantastic video called Why I Haven't Played Hades, I think, by a wonderful channel called Lamhoot, and he's a Greek man. He is a Greek man. And his main complaint is he's very tired of his culture being used as a generic backdrop for video games. And the most Greek thing Kratos does in the God of War series is share an alcoholic drink with his underage son. Which isn't a great look, but still. But yeah, I think those games would be more interesting if they were more culturally authentic. But back to the edginess of the early and mid-2000s, because I think it's a fascinating topic.
It is. It really is, because, like, not even, you know, children played those games, the original God of War game, and they, you know, teenagers, boys, but especially grown adult men from that time period played those games and was like, this is the most badass
This is the most
shit.
epic, awesome shit. This is what video games should be.
Epic is the word they would have used to describe it.
They would have said it.
And it happened with so many games back then. Like games, movies. Like look at Epic Movie, great example.
Oh my god.
Epic Movie, disaster movie. Like they are awful. They're really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like especially to like teenagers back then, that shit they ate it up.
Yeah.
You know.
There's
But
go ahead.
I feel like if you showed those to a teenager now,
they'd call it cringe.
they would laugh in your face and
would.
be like,
They
"This
would.
is the most cringe thing I've ever seen." Same thing with like God of War. Like the one game I did play that was along those lines, but it came out a little bit later. It was on Xbox 360. I've told you about it before.
Mm-hmm.
But Dante's Inferno.
Yes. Oh my god. Perfect example. Yeah. Just edgy for the sake of edge. And
it was edgy,
people ate it up.
But I loved that game.
Yeah.
I thought that game was awesome, but I liked it not really because of the edginess, but because of like the Dante's Inferno Chronicle that it kind of went over. Because like in that game you go through like the 9 circles of hell and you know fight all these bosses like glutton or greed and avarice and all this shit. And that was just super cool to me at the time. But it was super edgy because it's basically God of War, you know, in really close to it at least. Like the old God of Wars. Same like titties out, you know, enemies or NPCs or whatever. Like same swinging big weapon around, getting points up, you know, that type of thing. And that came out, I want to say, probably in 2008 or so, if I had to guess.
And that edginess manifested in a lot of different ways, but I'd say the through line between them would probably be the feeling of insecurity, I guess. That should kind of get off of those. Like, let's take Jak and Daxter to Jak 2, right? You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Where shit just got edgy. Or the PS2 Spyro games. You know what I'm talking about? The one.
No, I don't know on that one.
Spyro had a sleek design and it was all dark. It was like dark fantasy and stuff. And it's just like.
In Spyro 2?
No,
Spyro...
on the
PS2. Oh, okay.
I completely forgot what that game's called. I don't think people talk about it very much. But like, even that carried over into the PS3 generation and Xbox 360. Like, take DMC Devil May Cry, that reboot, right? And it was pretty lambasted just for being different than the other games. But it's like, you go back to that game, and it is so fucking cringe, dude. It is like, it's rough. It's trying so hard to be edgy and cool. And
speaking of a game we talked about recently, not on the channel, but in just a separate call, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
It's a really good example. I loved that game as a younger person.
thought it was hella cool too. I did.
And
it's not a good game. No doubt.
I went back and I said, I'm gonna watch a playthrough this because this game was fucking awesome. And I didn't make it through like the first mission, I don't think. Before I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, this is awful. Yes. This is cringe. Like, it was all so cringe. But as a kid, I didn't see any of that cringe. I was just like, this is the most badass Star Wars thing I've ever seen.
You get to play as a Sith, dude? Holy shit.
You get to play as a Sith. You get to, like, do all the cool shit. You get, you know, you get all these... And he's so edgy. You know, the main protagonist
His name is
like
fucking Star Killer, bro.
Yeah. And of course, he pulls down the Star Destroyer. Spoilers, if you ever wanted to play fucking Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
If someone actually cared about that, care about something better.
He stands on a planet and force pulls an entire Star Destroyer out of the sky.
To be fair, that is pretty cool.
It is so cool.
But
it is so absurd. In terms of like balancing Star Wars, that's just stupid.
Yes.
You know? Like no Star Wars loving adult or designer nowadays would ever do that, I don't think. Because it just...
I'm pretty sure Darth Vader did it in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He pulled a... spoilers. He pulled a small ship, but I don't think he pulled a Star Destroyer out of the sky.
I think you're right. You're right.
He pulled Obi-Wan's ship.
Yeah, he pulled...
But you gotta remember...
Yes.
A Star Destroyer is like the
huge.
aircraft carrier of fucking Starship. Like it is so huge, and that's what makes that scene badass. Is it's this such a large ship that it's kind of hard to grasp, really, and you pull it out of the sky.
It really reads as like, this is my Star Wars OC. He's the strongest ever. He can pull a Star Destroyer out of the sky, and he uses both light and both the light side and the dark side. He can shoot lightning, but he's a good guy, and he can beat Darth Vader. It's very much
that. Star Wars fan fiction, is what it is.
But
yeah, great example of that edge and that absurdity from that era. Is the Force Unleashed and the Force Unleashed 2.
Yep. Which interesting. I have a flip on this topic. I think there are some games and stuff that have that edge, but it aged really, really well. It still reads as badass and awesome. And I have a perfect example that's very relevant. Dude, Burnout Revenge fucking rocks. And it's edgy as hell, no doubt. It's edgy. Just the things you do in that game, just slamming into other cars the entire time, it's super edgy. But holy fuck, it's badass.
I don't know if I'd describe it as edgy.
You're right.
It's like it's more.
It's of the time, but you're right. It's not edgy per se.
It is like past action movie of action.
Yeah.
Like, and it is so absurd in every way because like people who've seen that video, the Burnout Revenge on PS2.
Which, if you haven't seen those two videos, go watch them. They're really fun.
But you slam into cars, and as long as you hit any car from the back, you're good. Or as long as you hit most cars from the back, you're good. You just slam them, and they go flying. But if you hit a car head on, you don't. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
But gameplay-wise, it makes for a really fucking fun game, dude.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, you know, Need for Speed, I never played much of it, but I imagine when you hit a car, it's like hitting a car.
You just die, right?
Yeah, you stop and respawn or whatever.
You can't slam into a car in real life. Right, yeah, it's just realistic.
But I think, you know, Burnout Revenge is kind of building off of older racing games with, you know, in older racing games, you could slam into your racing opponents and, you know, they veer off the road or whatever, which unrealistic, you know, your shit would be so fucked up if you did that. But in a video game for PS2, you know, slamming into your opponent to make them veer off into a wall, badass. Yeah. You know, that's awesome. So it makes great gameplay.
I have another example of a game series that I think its edge aged very well. And it's the Guitar Hero series. I think those games are fucking awesome. I love their attitude.
Now, did any of the Guitar Heroes have story modes?
Yes, they did.
So
they weren't substantial stories.
Not campaign. Like, because I did play campaign where it's like you go to different shows and you accumulate like money or something or points and you do bigger shows and stuff. I don't mean that. I mean like cutscenes, characters, like the whole 9 yards. I don't think the Guitar Heroes had that.
I think a Rock Band had that.
Yeah. I think if they would have had...
Oh, Jesus! I really wish this game had a shadow. Oh, it does. Does it? Is that always there? Oh, it is. Huh.
I think if the Guitar Hero games would have had stories with fleshed out characters and
oh, that's the fucking problem. The shadow doesn't show up on boxes. Which is a shame because you platform on them all the time. What the fuck? Shit game. Okay, go ahead.
I think if the Guitar Hero games would have had stories where they really, really dug into that edge, they probably wouldn't hold up as well.
Probably.
You know?
There was some Tony Hawk games that did exactly that, and yeah, no.
But being Guitar Hero being what it is, where it's just kind of like you're strictly there to shred on guitar, you know, like what is happening right now?
Crash is horny. I'm gonna need you to talk, by the way, because I really want to lock in and not die here so that the music doesn't loop.